What's happening, everybody? This is FitSpaz RECOVERY. I'm your host, Paul, the producer. I'm here to help you get fit, get healthy, and stay sober. Tons to talk about today. I have been procrastinating to do this podcast because my mind has been like going a million miles an hour all day long about the end of the election. And we know who our president is going to be now. Thank goodness all that negativity is over. I'm going to get to that just shortly, okay? But I'm going to begin just by updating you on my fitness. And yeah, I know you want to hear about my special, amazing opinions about the political election, the legalization of marijuana in California and so forth. But be patient. I'll get to that, okay? Have a lot of energy. I have been doing a new program called Core to Force. It's a mixed martial arts program with all kinds of other exercise mixed in. You don't need any equipment, just you and your body, and you follow the program. You have all these punch combinations and some footwork, and it's pretty exhausting, okay? Today I did something called MMA Speed. It's about 27 minutes, 6 rounds, 3 minutes each of different punching combinations with 30-second heavy cardio bursts in between. Yesterday there was something called Dynamic Strength, 12 3-minute rounds where there are just like a million different push-ups, some leg work, and holy moly, and some ab work. And it was very hard. About halfway through I could see I was puttering out, but I kept going, and I have really sore lats today. But I'm really enjoying this new program. The mood and the vibe is really good. The instructors are really good, and I'm enjoying it. So I wanted to fill you in. That's what I'm doing with that. For me, you can actually do it 30, 60, or 90 days. My plan is to do it 30 days, and then I'm going to get back into some weightlifting because I don't want to lose all the muscle mass I've built over the course of the last year and a half, 2 years and stuff. I want to keep my muscles nice looking. So and tonight after this podcast, it's about 6 o'clock p.m. right now, the 9th of November, the day after the special election for president. And I'm going to be doing a dance routine afterwards, okay? So that's what I started last Wednesday, actually a couple Wednesdays ago, and it'll be about 30 minutes. It's one of the dance routines in the series called Country Swing, and boy do I feel cheesy, but I was laughing and I had a smile because I'm just cheesing it up. And by the end of the half an hour length, I'm feeling good. Like my body is warmed up and the blood is flowing, and so I'm wide awake. And it's not nearly as grueling as the previous dance program I was doing, Size. So I'm going to finish this up, and then I'll probably still keep some kind of dance routine on Wednesday nights. Maybe go back to some other Size programs that are like a mishmash of some of the programs I've learned already. But onward! So this was quite the day for me. Yes, and I'm not sure what order to speak in. It's all about putting life in perspective, right? So I went to the doctor this morning because I've had this strange, annoying, recurring blemish on my forehead. And there goes the video monitor right there. The distraction of the video monitor. I've had this blemish on my forehead, and it's really kind of annoying. It's kind of like a scabby thing, and it's not like a zit. It's not something I should pick at. It itches a little bit. It kind of comes and goes. And I went to Italy and it sort of cleared up, but it came back. So I decided I'm going to go see the doctor and see what this is about. Very deterred from going to the doctor, but I shouldn't be. I should go when I have to go. There was no copay today. They were just checking it out. I'm glad I went. Now I have an appointment on November 29th with a dermatologist, and they're going to have to cut this thing off and biopsy it, basically. And it's so she said, don't lose sleep over it. If it's what they think it is, probably it's no big deal. And so I'm not losing sleep over it, actually. I feel pretty confident that it's not going to kill me. So, yeah, I've been through worse biopsies. I've had a prostate biopsy when I was younger, and I would rather get 5 of these things removed or more than get 1 prostate biopsy ever again. I hope I never have to do that again. I won't go into the gruesome, gory, explicit, bloody details of what it entails to get a prostate biopsy, up your bum. That's pretty much as far as I'll go, as I'll tell you. It's something they do up your bum with a thing called a gun. Does that sound nice? Nice mental image there, right? I kid you not. I have a much more gross terminology that I've used over the years to describe this procedure, but in this venue, it wouldn't be appropriate to talk about it. Ergo, that's why I'm sometimes thinking about changing the classification of this podcast in the iTunes directory to explicit so that I can use swear words, the F word, other four-letter words, naughty words, improper words to describe my body parts. Okay? Because I like to talk like that, and I miss it when I'm on here. But it's also an interesting challenge to try and see how I can express myself without, darn it, yeah, without the use of those colorful metaphors, baby, yeah. Okay, so why am I so amped up today and emotional, okay? It's because of the presidential election. It's because of all the voting that's been going on, and it's because of how everybody else is feeling, and everybody's wound up and being angry and crazy and all this stuff about it. And it's kind of like if you've been watching my daily broadcast videos on my Facebook FitSpaz page, you've been hearing me talk about this already a little bit, and it's about how rather than putting so much faith into someone running for an office like the president, okay, this isn't going to be so political that I think it would offend anybody on either side. Rather than making that emotional investment in something you have no control over and being so wrapped up in the outcome so that if it's not the outcome you want, you get so bloody upset. Rather than putting all that emotion into that, my suggestion is you create your own life. You invest all that emotion into you and your potential in all the things that you can do to achieve and have a greater life and all of this, and you'll be much happier. Your emotional state won't be hinging on an outcome you really have no control over. So yeah, I went to vote, and I have my opinions about politics. In fact, if you were my personal friend on Facebook, you could listen to a 20-minute video I did yesterday where I talked about politics, and I was very careful to choose my words. I wasn't highly incendiary. I wasn't offending people, yelling at people, but I know how people are with these topics, especially since I was critical of both candidates in the race. I can just imagine that people would be mad at me, and it's like, that's not me though. Let me tell you kind of what I said yesterday. I would hope that people can transcend that modality. Let me continue here. To basically feel like you can talk to someone about things, mutually respect one another, disagree enormously, and still be friends in the end. I think that's paramount. I think that's vital. I think that's a transcendent attitude where like you can respect one another, disagree greatly, but still have dinner with one another and enjoy the process. Those are the kinds of friends I want to have. I've had those kinds of friends, and it's a pleasure having those kinds of friends, and that's what I'm looking for in other people, that we can disagree greatly on all kinds of things, political, personal, spiritual, fitness, academics, whatever. I don't know, whatever the topic is, and yet somehow we're respectful in our approach, and we can love one another and mutually respect one another and be good, like, friends, deep, meaningful friends, regardless, okay? So all the fear people have, the political process invests so much fear in both sides of an argument. So from one side, generate all this fear about the other side, and the same goes for this side over here, generating all the fear about the other side. And it works so well. And when you have the media feeding into that to the max, you have everybody getting super anxious. Probably more people are drinking, probably more people are doing drugs to cope with the stress. They're like, hey, I want to take the edge off. Society's crazy right now. People are crazy right now. I want to take the edge off with a drug. It's not good for us, actually. So I'm hoping someday for a transcendent modality. And I had it already in not a fan of both politicians in this race, okay? I deliberately did not make a huge emotional investment one way or the other. And we know which way it turned out. And I wasn't sad, I wasn't upset today, but I go on my Facebook and I'm scrolling through and I see so many people so extremely upset, and this recurring statement different people are making. I'm scared. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. You're scared? You're scared? Really? I'm not scared. I'm not living my life in fear like that. Not when life is what it is day to day. And I sit around my house. Unless the protest and the riot comes to my house, I'm not too worried about it. But, rather than raging, I would suggest you take all that negative energy, honestly, listen to me, take all that negative energy and put it into something positive. Help someone somehow in a positive way instead of raging, instead of saying F you to the world and breaking stuff and beating people up who happen to be on the winning side. Talk about sore losers. Don't be a sore loser. Make the world a better place. Is that a bad message? You got a problem with my message? And, do I not understand who won for president? And I think I do. Listen to my video on my personal page. Add me as a friend on Facebook and get to know me better, okay? Because I don't talk about all my political beliefs here on this podcast. I don't do that here. I'm trying to give a good, healthy perspective. So if you're feeling angry and down and out today, I'll tell you something President Obama said. I'll tell you some stuff like even Hillary Clinton said. And it's not to fall into despair, not to fall heavily into cynicism. Work hard and fight hard to make the world a better place, but it doesn't have to be a nasty fight. That's what I would tell those guys, is I'm not proud of the way President Obama, Trump, or Clinton all approached their campaigns, because it made us all divided from one another and angry and disrespecting one another, and it's not good for the country. It's not good for our mental state. It's not good for the way we are reflected as a country in the world to others. You consider yourself a global leader, then act like there's some modicum of dignity in the world. Come on. Okay. And now let's get to the next part. Well, before I get to the next part of the next part, let me just tell you what I've been reading. This cool little book here, right? So I have a lot of phlegm built up because I ate a lot of snacks today and I had a big dinner at my parents' just a short while ago. This is a book called Mastery: The Keys to Success and Long-Term Fulfillment by George Leonard. It's a short, easy read, about 175 pages, but it's very easy to read, and it's very solid, good stuff. I love listening to this guy. I believe the author has since passed away. He's a martial arts master in the martial art of Aikido, and I love the way he approaches the topic of mastery in all sorts of ways where you might want to be a master at something, okay? The attitude, the plateau, everything. So I'm not going to get too in-depth with this, except to say that I am loving this, and I'm reading through this, and I'm trying not to read through it too quickly. I'm trying to take it in a reasonable size and then absorb that information for the day and reflect on it. Because when you read like 50 pages all at once when you like something, I don't think you absorb it as well. So now that I've told you about the great little book that I'm reading, get it, Mastery: The Keys to Success and Long-Term Fulfillment by George Leonard, for sale on Amazon. That one is a big recommendation. Go get that one. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. The moment I've been waiting for. Okay, so it's kind of like a momentous occasion for California and Nevada, because I've heard that they have legalized recreational marijuana. Woohoo! So on some level, this is good for personal liberty and being able to make that choice. And yet there are some other reasons why I want to bring up the topic and talk about it, okay? So yes, I'm like a liberty lover, and I want to have people make free choices with things they should be able to choose on their own and not have the government poke its nose into your life. So in this sense, I think that's a good move. I don't think every time you have somebody arrested for marijuana use, whether they have a problem with it or not, when I'm just talking about someone possessing it or sitting in a chair in their house using it, or even being out in public using it, it's tragic if someone's arrested. Then that's a supposedly free country that's made a mistake by arresting somebody. But let me get to my other point. So I also consider marijuana something that it's serious. You need to use it responsibly, and there's this social perception of it that it's okay, no big deal, it's just marijuana. And you know what? My opinion is quite different from what it used to be, transcending growing up, and that's that marijuana is not entirely good for everybody. And I know that goes against the grain. It's like people will be like, "Oh my God, you bastard! How dare you badmouth marijuana?" But hey, for myself and for many people I've met who've quit marijuana, they acknowledge how and why it's a problem in their lives. The incessant need or desire to smoke before you do everything in life, the finances, the risk with the law, getting in trouble, being behind the wheel of a car and having it in your blood, God forbid, if you get in an accident or you get pulled over, how it changes your relationships with others, how you may not be able to listen as well when you're high, and so that'll affect your relationships and all that. So these are things I consider to be a real detriment to the frequent use. So I'm actually envious of people who can just kind of smoke it once a month and be like, yeah, I'm done with it, and they're not addicted and they're not sitting wanting it. But me, I have a puff here and there, and all of a sudden I'm falling back into a habit that's going to wind up being almost every day all the time, and that sucks. And so the nature of liberty, the other aspect of this topic that I wanted to talk about right now, with this revelation that it was legalized in California and Nevada, and that is, if you're addicted to something, you're not really free. You're like a slave to it. And you got to be honest with yourself, because I know how people deny, and the excuse is, oh, I like it. It's good for me. I need it for my nervousness. And you're not either recognizing its contribution to your nervousness, or you're not recognizing how it's really making you a nervous wreck. I know that I would be a nervous wreck like 10-15 minutes after smoking, and my mind was just like woo, on a huge negative curve, and like raging angry, especially first thing in the morning. And then as I smoke it while the day goes on, my mind just gets numbed, and I'm emotionally just like flatlined like a zombie. But I still have this rage issue in the morning when I do it. So the nature of liberty, do you want to be free of being an emotional slave to any type of addiction? And for me, it's marijuana. And this is what I've realized for myself. And if you don't want to hear this, you can go make your choice. You can get high. You can tune out. But this is a perspective I'm offering to people who might have been struggling with this tug of war in themselves for a while, or whether it's people you know who've kind of maybe shamed you for thinking you might not want to be doing this. You may not want to be a stoner all the time, be high all the time. There is a different way, and it is possible that you can escape it. So I'm all for the law changing so that people don't go to jail, because I don't think it's the government's business to make these choices. And I'm also all for people being truly awake and enlightened about the choice they are making by indulging in it all the time and then becoming a regular user of marijuana, a permanent addict. I know calling it addictive pisses people off. They'll scream, they'll argue about it, they'll say it's not addictive. In my view, it is. With me, it is. And I'm saying I'm an addict, not because I'm like, I'm proud to say I'm an addict, but if it helps somebody out there who identifies with this feeling clean up their act, then by all means do that. And you know what? It's especially ironic that I decided to quit smoking marijuana after it became legal in the state of Colorado. And I even had a little hand in the cultural aspect of that evolution that it wound up making it illegal in the state. Don't let anybody fool you, I did. But here's my point, okay? The irony is that I quit when it got legalized, and I feel like 1 in a million. I feel like I'm 1 in a million, because this thing people wanted to be legal forever became legal, and I quit. And I feel better about my life since I quit. Do you know that? So my advice to people in any state hear what I'm hearing, and if you think it's a problem, don't just like wait for it to be legal and indulge and get super high. Be 1 in a million. Join the 1 in a million club with me and quit. Do you know how hard that is to come to that realization you need to do that? You have to be down and out. You know, they talk about rock bottom. Emotionally, that's where I think I have to get. And I've been there a few times when I tried to quit in the past. That's where I was when I decided to quit this last time. Rock bottom. Golly, I wanted to quit. Golly, I'm glad I quit. 1 in a million, baby. Yeah. I feel pretty good about it. I'm going to take a drink of water right now. I hear a lot of talk show hosts. And I observe their style. I think about their delivery and stuff. And then I compare it to my own and I think about my own. And I realize I feel like I'm bippity bappity bippity bap, and I feel like I got to fill it in at every single moment and be like bap 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 bap, fill it in, blah blah blah. And there are people who actually talk more reserved and just kind of methodically think of their words, and sometimes they'll pause while they're thinking, and I'm like, whoa, are they still there? Is this dead air? And they just kind of start up again. And sometimes I think I should slow my approach down a little bit. Anybody have feedback on that, by the way? So it was an emotionally distracting day. I was having trouble getting up to do this. Last night when I was watching CNN, and it was very interesting, nail-biting, waiting to see who would win for the presidency, and it was actually very educational watching how they would go on this map and compare the votes in one district to another, and how much of the vote has been turned in this district, and how many people they would anticipate would vote in each district, and comparing it to previous elections with the click of a button, the final percentages and stuff. I found it to be kind of riveting, actually. I just want to look at something really quick here. So and there was a really long pause just now, like I was talking about, because I was looking at my computer for another song to play. But yeah, I spent a lot of hours on CNN last night, and then at the end I was flicking to Fox News, and I was just like, I wish they could do it and like do the vote counting in an hour and be done with it, because I was like, it's so slow. And I tried to watch X-Men Apocalypse, because it was like $9.99 to buy it, 1 day only, and I was like, oh my god, I have to get it now, because I swore I would get it when it came down in price, but not before it came down in price. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and watch this, because this is driving me nuts waiting for this election. I couldn't even make it like 10 minutes in, because I was like, Florida, what's going on in Florida? Who's gonna win Florida? Oh. And that's the honest to God truth. So I was on edge like everybody last night. And just to go back, I'm really kind of disappointed in the cynicism and the sadness people are expressing. It's like, people, your life is yours to create predominantly in your own circumstances. We already have the circumstances that are great and abundant to us to create our own life, and our circumstances day to day serve that end for us. We don't need someone to come into that high-powered office, no matter what they think, and give us the personal power we need. We already have it at our disposal. So I just want to encourage people, don't despair. Don't fall into cynicism, because it's all yours for the taking if you want it. Your life is your life. And I realize there are certain problems they can address. I'm not going to get into it. The healthcare and security. These are tasks the president takes on. But insofar as what we are capable of doing around us at any given moment to secure ourselves, let go of the things you don't have control over, because it'll drive you nuts if you're dwelling all the time on how you can't control your own life at a given moment because you need so and so to do something for you. Stop waiting around for others to do it for you. Okay, so whatever. I'm hoping the best for our country no matter what. I hope anyone of any political leaning can agree with me on that. Mutually respect and agree with me on that we hope the best for the country. And so I talked about a whole wide range of stuff, didn't I? And I want to thank anyone out there who actually bothered to listen. That's pretty cool. And I'm still going to be trying to come to you once a week with these, build it up, improve it, be enthusiastic, come to you with new topics, ask you to suggest feedback or give me a new topic, send feedback and a new topic to paul@fitspaz.com. You want to get involved in fitness? I'm also available here to help you do that. So I want to thank Kevin MacLeod for providing the musical backdrop for this podcast. I always love having that behind me. And you can find out more about him by going to incompetech.com. And lastly, I want to tell you all to have a good week. Check out FitSpaz.com. Follow me on social media. Let me know what's up with you. If you have a recovery story, if you have a fitness story, before and after, losing weight, gaining muscle, I want to see it. I want to know it all about you, okay? Let's just connect on some level. Why not? Why not? All right. So I'm going to let you guys go. Have a nice week in the meanwhile. Take it easy. And yeah, that's it. Have a good one. Peace.